Yes, some accountability for me not plugging in my mic again. Yes, finally, some accountability from Apple over these slow phones. That was some pretty dogged stuff that they did there. They slowed down their old iPhones to coerce people who had older iPhones to buy newer phones. That's pretty underhanded if you ask me, man. But let's read this. Apple has agreed to pay up to $500 million to settle litigation accusing it of quietly slowing down older iPhones as it launched new models to induce owners to buy replacement phones or batteries. And they did it quietly, but end all, it's going to be about $25 per iPhone that individuals who have the older iPhones are going to get. That's going to adjust up or down depending on how many iPhones are actually eligible for participating in that. The preliminary proposed class action settlement was disclosed on Friday night and requires approval by U.S. District Judge Edward Davila in San Jose, California. It calls for Apple to pay consumers $25 per iPhone, which may be adjusted up or down depending on how many iPhones are eligible, with a minimum total payout of $310 million. So they can't go below $310 million. It will depend on how many iPhones are eligible for this, how many they figure have been slowed down. So that $25 number per iPhone, if you have an older iPhone, that might be more, might be less, but there will be a minimum amount that you'll get. Apple denied wrongdoing and settled the nationwide case to avoid the burdens and cost of litigation, court papers show. No, they didn't. They avoided wrongdoing. They got more money than God. They avoided wrongdoing. They avoided the lawsuit they wanted. What am I trying to say? They wanted to avoid people seeing that they were doing the wrongdoing and that they had shady business practices, and so they settled out of court. The Cupertino, California-based company did not immediately respond on Monday to requests for comment. Friday's settlement covers U.S. owners of the iPhone 6, 6 Plus, 6S, 6S Plus, 7, 7 Plus, or SE that ran the iOS 10.2.1 or later operating system. It also covers U.S. owners of the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus that ran iOS 11.2 or later before December 21st, 2017. So if you have one of those phones, you might want to keep up on it. I know it doesn't sound like a lot of money, but money is money. And hey, you know what? If they jerk you around, yeah, milk them for every little penny you can get for them. Apple products are overpriced as it is. I mean, in my opinion, you're paying for the name. Consumers contended that their phones' performances suffered after they installed Apple software updates. They said this misled them into believing their phones were near the end of their life cycles, requiring replacement or new batteries. Apple attributed the problem mainly to temperature changes, high usage, and other issues, and said its engineers worked quickly and successfully to address them. Analysts sometimes refer to the slowing of iPhones as throttling, which is what they do. Internet companies do it too. When your phone says you have unlimited data, yeah, you have unlimited data to a certain amount, and then they start throttling your data so you don't use so much, hoping that you're going to pay for more data usage. Lawyers for the consumers described the settlement as fair, reasonable, and adequate. They called the payments of $25 per iPhone considerable by any degree, saying their damages expert considered $46 per iPhone the maximum possible. The lawyers plan to seek up to $93 million, equal to 30% of $310 million in legal fees, plus $1.5 million for expenses. Following an initial outcry over slow iPhones, Apple apologized and lowered the price for replacement batteries from $29 to $29 from $79. So more than half off. Yeah, they overpriced their stuff anyways. I've seen a lot of those videos with the people who work on Apple computers, and Apple says that things are broken when they're not. You have to buy a new computer because you have wire loose, and the guy gets in there and he's like, look, 10 minutes later, boom, and it's fixed. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Apple products. I think they're overpriced. Are they good? Yeah, sure, they're good products. But when they break, they are expensive, and you virtually have to get a new one no matter what happens. A hair lands on it, and, well, you got to buy a new iPhone. That's just, I don't know. I know, a little hyperbole, but anyways, if you have one of those iPhones, give it a check. Maybe you'll get a check. All right, love you guys. I'll see you on the next one.